Don't you spend enough time waiting for patches, system updates, and even worse, title updates? On Lag Free, we won't waste your time, and we talk about the topics that you want to hear about in a decidedly different fashion. No scripts or forced sides here. Listen to Lag Free, recorded and released regularly on Intrepid Audio Productions.
The following is a special presentation of IAP Podcasts. And welcome into FromPage2Screen Stateside here on IAP Podcast. We are doing the Year in Review 2013. I know it's been a while since we last had a show, but unfortunately, can't always get out to the cinema to see things. And, certainly with our busy schedule, that has certainly taken a turn towards the latter. Welcoming in, my name is Matt Kane, and with me I have my lovely wife, Megan.
Hello. And,
you've heard her on previous episodes of Lag Free, and probably even from Page2Screen Stateside as well. So these we're just kind of, since we didn't get to really see a whole lot after, even going into October, I think was the last time we saw a film in cinema.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably.
So, I had very big ambitions for the summer movie season. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of the big movies came and went probably by, I shouldn't say came and went, but were released by June, if not into July, and kind of tapering off the rest of the summer year. The last movie I think we did see in cinema was The Conjuring or The Counselor?
The Counselor.
Yeah, The Counselor, and we did try to see American Hustle recently. Unfortunately, it's only whether this time the most recent time, but the first time it's only showing on one screen in our local theater, and that's a real disappointment. With The Hobbit occupying 3D and 2D multiple screens, I think even Anchorman taking up a couple of screens. So there's certainly enough to go around, and I have said it before, I like the winter releases, and I find it very difficult to be able to do a show like this when there are several different movies out that have potential to be the best of the year. Last year we saw what I ended up calling the best movie we saw of 2012 in Silver Linings Playbook in January. So it was released in 2012. I would put it up against everything we saw in 2012 and would win handedly.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, definitely. Silver Linings Playbook was definitely a very good movie. It's very genuine.
Yeah, very, very real. I think that's probably the best way to really put it. Like you said, genuine. It's not going to wow you with special effects, but it's going to knock you out of the park with a tremendous story, tremendous acting, and really just overall one of the best movies made of recent vintage.
I agree. It's heartwarming, and it kind of makes you stop and think. And it's definitely a very thought-provoking, very genuine movie. So it definitely deserved everything it won.
So we went back and we reviewed all of our ticket stubs and racked our brain with what we were able to see 2013 movie-wise. And, we came up with our two best movies of the year. Why don't you go ahead?
Oh, mine's definitely The Great Gatsby. I kind of wish we had seen it in 3D, but at the time probably wasn't the best idea for me, personally speaking. But had we seen it in 3D, the first 20 minutes were 3D, and that was about it. That's all I could see. But Baz Luhrmann does such a wonderful job of bringing the vibrant, atmosphere of the 20s and all of that. He just brings it to life so well, and at the same turn flips it on its head as soon as Gatsby gets found out and everything happens. The contrast and the film making skill and the production value is fantastic. It's a great story to begin with, and they stuck to it for the most part. There's always little things here and there, but honestly, it's fairly on plot with the story. The production value, the set dressing, down to the jewelry, and even the music. It all, he does such a good job in his films of bringing it all together to make it a cohesive unit.
No, he very much does, and I guess my only other previous experience with Luhrmann was in Romeo and Juliet, which, if you haven't seen it, it's specifically the Kate Blanchett, or no, it's Claire Danes, Claire Danes and Leo, of course. But the entire script is literally Romeo and Juliet in pure Shakespeare. There's no fudging with the dialogue. There's nothing that is taken out of context. This is just, it was a modern retelling of Shakespeare, and done perfectly as far as I'm concerned. Very relatable for today's youths, as it were, and everything else. But Gatsby, tremendous visuals. And they get, you'd almost want to say they get the visual porn out of the way. The 3D effects, the bedazzling, the just the whole mystique and the whole set of the Roaring Twenties. They get that out of the way quickly, and then it settles into the story. And it's a very good job of doing so, and it's a very good way of doing so. For those that are interested in the visual effects and the visual porn that it is, well, you might just be better off watching the trailer, because it's going to condense all that quickly. And
but it also, his storytelling, the way that the story goes, his use of visuals and use of, that garish, party scenes from the 20s in the beginning, that all fits the story and how, the story goes, and as, Jay kind of takes his turn. You kind of see how the sets and things start taking their turn and following that same, progression as Gatsby himself. So for me, he tells a story on so many levels. It's really, it's a gorgeous thing.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we did get to see it, at least in HD quality theater. It looked tremendous. It was an absolutely tremendous visual experience to see it on a big cinema screen like that. But right now, unfortunately, while Lerman will be perfect for future of 3D when it comes to holograms and and everything like that.
Imagine Moulin Rouge in 3D.
That's a good way to put it.
Green Berry coming at you.
Explosions of color in your face. So no, it really was it was a tremendous film. Really one of the high points of the cinema experience this year. Moving over to mine, unfortunately, it's more cerebral and more. You almost want to even discount the story. It's more just a technical demo, I guess, of acting. It's almost like an acting workshop as opposed to an actual film. And if you don't know what I'm referring to, it's The Counselor. It's one of Ridley Scott's latest, and it's not necessarily a whodunit and what's going on. Maybe it's just the way I'm interpreting it, but it almost falls in line with a modern noir, or just this sort of character progression and seeing who is this character and who is this person. And, well, you don't always like what you find with some of these characters, and it's certainly talking, the story talks about some of the seedy underbelly of the drug trade and the depths that the cartel will go into, to punish a drug trade or, whatever, to someone that's encroaching on their business or anything of the sort. I found one of the most interesting things was the use of language, and I found it really poignant to entitle the movie The Counselor, while the main character is a lawyer and an attorney, and everyone's referring to him as counselor, except he's the one being counseled. He's the one being given advice. He's the one that is learning and completely out of his depths as far as he's concerned. And it really shows, and that comes together in the narrative in the film, as it were. But great acting, and I think that's something that doesn't get mentioned a lot. Penelope Cruz was actually tolerable for me in this film. Granted, she's not in it a whole lot, but she was there. Again, she was tolerable. Cameron Diaz broke out her acting chops once again.
Wait, stop.
Or something else.
It was like Cameron Diaz unleashed her inner hoe, like, that she's been hiding. And I'm not talking like hoe. I'm talking like, I got some nails done. I like my stuff cheetah print. Ho.
Total, your perfect image of a gold digging,
herpes laden ho.
Yes, just a full on skankified. It's really a good way to put it. Aside from ho, but she has a purpose, and it's interesting. I mean, she played a really great character. I haven't seen her act that well. Oh gosh, I would probably have to go back to Any Given Sunday. Was the last time she was that good in a film, and where she's not just eye candy. And so that was nice. that was nice to see her get back to that sort of role. I mean, she'd taken some other roles where she looks rough. Actually, I could say Vanilla Sky. She did a really good job in that.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
But I think those were the same time period, maybe 2001 or so. Either way.
Yeah.
2001 to 03.
Neighborhood.
Yeah. So, but Brad Pitt was great. I mean, he followed up a really good performance from Moneyball last year, or 2 years ago, I think, to no, I think it was last year. Anyway, into this year with The Counselor, showing that yes, he's not just eye candy as well. This was like seemingly the anti-eye candy movie.
Oh, but Michael Fassbender, eye candy. But
he can act.
Comes with acting, and you see the acting and the eye candy, and they go together. Javier Bardem, not so much eye candy, but plays a nut job really well.
Yeah, he does that a very good job as playing the character that he did. I found him very honest, and I found it very real, and he made that really relatable.
He makes it real. Like, if you've seen the trailers, you've seen the bit about the car.
Yeah, well,
he keeps it real.
Yeah, he does. He does a good job.
Real.
He does, and he makes it.
And you kind of agree with him, and you're like, "Damn, that's a good way to put it."
Yeah, and it's funny because the entire audience had the same reaction, which was great, and I love to see that when an audience is paying attention and does come on key to those sort of things, and gets invested in the show or in the picture in the film. So that was really nice to see. Let's see. That pretty much wraps up The Counselor for me. I would absolutely suggest viewing it. Don't view it before bed. Not because of what you're going to see, but this takes focus and energy to watch, and I enjoy films that take some focus and energy to watch because I think you get a lot more out of it. You have to think and be a little bit more cerebral. So this isn't, make a bag of popcorn, sit back, kick up your feet, have a few chuckles, and see some, nice visual effects. No, this is much more focused.
Yeah, you kind of have to be awake to watch it.
Yeah, this is not a summer blockbuster, brain dead type Thor.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So let's see. Moving on for the rest of the year, we do have two other categories: honorable mentions and new to me in 2013. Going through some of our honorable mentions, it's almost basically everything else that we saw in theater.
Pretty much.
I can't say
on Netflix.
Yeah, or on Netflix. I mean, it was. Gosh, it's tough because I had such high expectations going into 2013, and while I didn't see some of the other marquee matchups, as you'll see here, I didn't get to see Star Trek. That was a disappointment for me.
Disappointment. Very much disappointment.
Yeah, it's frustrating in that sense. So please discount what I'm saying. If I don't mention it, I didn't see it. So I wanted to be absolutely brutally honest in stating that right off the bat. So the honorable mentions for us that we came up with that were new movies that were released in the calendar year of 2013 that we saw either in cinema or via rental service. We did see The World's End, saw that in theaters. We saw Man of Steel in IMAX, 2D,
yes.
HD, but fantastic.
Beautiful.
Really beautiful.
Makes the town of Plano look gorgeous.
It certainly does. Plano, Illinois, that is.
Yes.
Otherwise, there's not much there. It's a drive-through flyover area. So.
But it's still kind of fun to see someplace near you.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a movie.
It is. It's fun.
I get nerdy about Wayne's World, so this is...
And that's okay. I guess I would have liked Man of Steel a little bit more if things were more condensed. And I'm not going to blame Nolan for that because I don't think he was in control of that.
No, I don't think so either. I just think you get flooded with origin stories, and you just kind of, it becomes a little bit of white noise, and you know, we all kind of know where Superman came from, so you can kind of skip some of those details and condense. And
yeah, you know, it's tough. I can appreciate it for what it was, and it's not saying I didn't like it. I found some choices that they made very good, very intriguing, but man, I don't know what they're planning on doing with it, is I guess the best way to say it.
And that's, like, it's hard to see which way it's going to go, because you could always go the classic Lex Luthor route, and it just doesn't, they didn't set it up. It's like there wasn't much set up to something else, even though you know another movie's coming. Right.
I think we all knew that this was not going to be a standalone piece, much like what The Watchmen was for Zack Snyder, or 300, or, even Sucker Punch. So, yeah, it's not a standalone piece. It is part of a bigger story. I would almost say let some of the other story happen. I'm not saying that they should have gone away from the General Zod route. One thing that Superman has, one of his biggest weakness, aside from Kryptonite, is the fact that he has very few viable enemies, because he is Superman. They made him more human. They made his human element, or his adopted human element, much more of a factor in this film than what I've seen before, which is certainly nice. It's really tough to say. There were nice little drops. I kind of freaked out when I saw a LexCorp container truck going by, and I was like, yes, that's sweet. And I think I haven't seen it again, but I want to kind of take a moment and pause a certain scene that I have in my head of Superman going into space, but passing what I thought I saw was a Wayne Enterprises satellite. And if that's the case, that's a tremendous tie-in and foreshadow, or nod at least, to the DC Universe, but also to what's to come. I don't have the greatest expectations of what's to come. I think 2015, 2016, of whatever we're looking at here.
Lowered expectations.
And
it's probably the best way to go.
I would say it's mostly due to the casting. Maybe that's unfair judgment of me.
Yeah. Who did they cast as Batman again?
It's Affleck.
Oh, yeah, really disappointing.
I mean, I don't know if we've been spoiled as Christian Bale being Batman of the past decade, but we're really spoiled of that, because Christian Bale didn't have anything to his name, and the Bruce Wayne Batman part, and his shouldering that burden throughout the Nolan series was remarkable. Say what you want about the Batman voice. I can care less about it. I really can. It does not take away from the movie experience for me.
It's a little detracting, but of the Batmans that have happened, Christian Bale has been a pretty good Batman. I'm not, I can't, I think he had the best storyline, best setup. He's the most authentic Batman, more or less. You see his struggles between Bruce Wayne and, wanting kind of like that real life where you don't have to be Batman and you don't have to play behind the, you don't have to do things behind the scenes. And so I think he had the best setup.
Yeah, and that will always go back to Nolan and the team that he had in writing it, and all the credit in the world to them. Going back again, you can go back and listen to 2012. One of the biggest disappointments that I had was certainly The Dark Knight Rises, and going back and watching it again, it still is a disappointment. It's still the low point in all three movies, and maybe it's just me and the artistic direction that they took as far as the character and some of the things that happen. Okay, I can accept artistic differences, but some of the things they don't seem cohesive to the Batman that I'm accustomed to.
Well, and I think in that one, I think it was more, I think they had intended to bring Heath Ledger back, and then that happened. I think that kind of shot some of their, whatever, and they had to go back to the drawing board, so you have a whole new set of characters that have no, real background, and, they could have played up the Batman Catwoman thing a little more, which I think
they didn't even need it. They didn't even need it.
I would have liked it. I'm allowed to have my...
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Opinions,
sir.
Oh, I know you are.
But like they could have there are so many things that they could have done instead, and it kind of seems like they're like, okay, when we come up with a decent movie.
For me, it's the 8-year time gap that happens, and with the time gap being mere days between Begins and The Dark Knight, they're seemingly days, as opposed to 8 years, is tremendous. And it's almost asking your audience to take on and assume a lot about whatever things. In that fact, I guess, it's very real, though. It seems very genuine and plausible due to the circumstances from The Dark Knight to The Dark Knight Rises. But we're getting derailed, so getting back.
Sorry, he gets a tangent on Batman. And
it's worth it. Anyway, the other movie, actually, I had tempered expectations, and it really surprised me, was The Hangover 3.
Oh, yeah.
It's
always a good buddy, just mindless adventure.
It is. They did a good job as far as not repeating the same thing. Yeah, the same pattern, the same thing over and over again. But the way they ended it, in the setup to the final maybe 60 seconds, 90 seconds on screen before the credits roll, you want that again. You want to see what else they could do, what else happened, and what happened that night before at the end of the movie. So it looks that looked like it would be hilarious, completely hilarious all unto itself. Otherwise, these guys have a great comedic dynamic.
Oh yeah, and their chemistry is fantastic.
I applaud the director for doing it. I'm grateful for the entire Hangover series because their comedic talents are so good, are so high. I would take them. I'd rather see a movie with this group, the Wolfpack, as opposed to the Seth Rogen clan. That's just personal preference. I didn't end up seeing The World. This is the end. I've heard good things. I've heard good things. So.
Every once in a while, I do enjoy a good Pineapple Express. That's just I like Pineapple Express. So every once in a while, a good dose of Seth Rogen is fine. But Bradley Cooper, Ed Helms, the whole gang, they're just so much better together.
Yeah.
Plus, you have the eye candy of Bradley Cooper. Once again, going back to the 2010 Kane Family Movie of the Year.
The A-Team. Yes, don't you forget that. And let's see, continuing on, I actually got out of my comfort zone. And
big time. Big time.
So much so, I let a little bit of my comfort, I left a little bit of something at the theater in two facts, but we ended up seeing The Conjuring. Megan's a huge horror fan, loves horror movies, loves to get scared. I, on the other hand, I believe I even tweeted or put it on Foursquare when I checked in, I need my diaper. I have my diaper. I'm okay. And
pretty much. I was a little afraid I was going to need a canoe sitting next to him.
I so much so I got physically stressed from the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Shoulders were tight. Back hurt.
Flinched. Screamed like a little girl.
Yes. The movie, The Conjuring. It's based on actual events of a psychic or I should say a telepath.
And Lorraine Warren, they're big in the Ed's dead, but Lorraine Warren's still around. They're big in the the paranormal research community. And,
they did a lot. They were the Gen 1ers of paranormal research and hauntings, possessions, those sorts of things as that happened throughout, as that kind of grew.
And, with all of that. So this is kind of along the lines of Amityville, but it kind of weaves in the story of the family and the story of the Warrens.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a very scary, it gets scary. But it's definitely tolerable scary.
Well, for you, I mean, I unfortunately for me, the religious paranormal and the religious hauntings, possessions type of stories, I guess, are scariest to me. There's no way around it. So movies like this, movies like The Exorcist, movies like Paranormal Activity, it's very scary to me because I do take my faith very seriously. So you take the good with the bad and those sorts of things, but you have to accept both sides of the coin as far as faith is concerned. But so I could watch a slasher movie any day and not be scared of it. But this. It did a good. It was very good. It was very creepy. I liked how it transitioned from 8mm film to HD. In the HD settings that they had for a modern film, just telling the story and switching perspectives from the Warrens to third person.
Well, and a lot of it, I think, as far as setting up the movie and Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are like fantastic and so genuine in their their portrayals of Ed and Lorraine Warren, and it's definitely if you don't know, the family moves into a house and they're there a couple days and all of a sudden, things start happening.
Stuff goes sideways.
And then some.
Yeah.
So, definitely they the cast brings their acting chops and brings it as far as their portrayals. And I definitely think I liked this movie. Even just for like it's a scary movie, no big deal.
Yeah.
Thing. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it was. It was very good. It was very spooky. It was very eerie at one point when the Warrens start getting there. Or no, the Warrens weren't there yet. But the family, the wife, the mother of the house, she's starting to experience some of the hauntings and some of the interactions with the paranormal and or the entity that's living there. And of course, it's farmhouse, drafty wood frame farmhouse, and the door creaks open into the basement, and everyone's kind of like chuckling, like they know, oh yeah, don't go down there. And I just, out of sheer, panic, just needing to, I blurt out, literally blurt out, don't do it!
He does.
I did. I blurted it out. I was in the wrong theater at that time. And but it was nice to see that everyone in the theater did enjoy it. It wasn't too much grief. They chuckled along with it. It was nice. It was nice. So overall, a good experience. I guess a really new experience for me as far as seeing a horror film in theaters.
Yeah, I don't take him to many. I get like one a year. I get like a coupon.
Yes.
This is your horror movie.
Yeah, she'll be getting it again tonight at midnight.
I get one tonight at midnight.
So yeah, let's see. Yeah, The Conjuring was it definitely out of the comfort zone, but overall a very good cinematic experience. Going on, 2 movies we ended up seeing through rentals. One I had surprised expectations because I didn't hear much about it, and that was Now You See Me. All of a sudden, this magic movie pops on at the beginning of the summer movie season, just coming out of nowhere. And it's smart. It's a nice whodunit type suspense movie. But I don't know. I guess it seemed a little, I want to say pedantic, just really kind of shallow.
It was kind of shallow, but it's, the magic behind, like, the magic that they do is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that had it going, that had it going.
Yeah, it was okay. Definitely worth a rental if you get it for free through, your monthly disc subscription through Netflix or Redbox. Definitely worth that sort of price. I'm certainly glad we didn't spend, the cinematic experience for it. And finally, the last movie released in 2013, and we did see. It got bombed. It bombed in theaters. And I am going to say, while it doesn't necessarily have the best directing credentials from the Farrelly group, or, the Farrelly brothers, Movie 43, this is a movie that harkens back to a different time in Hollywood. yet does things in a very modern setting, and assembles a tremendous ensemble cast, gets them completely out of their element, and completely just makes fun of Hollywood. I loved it. I thought it was funny. It was completely sophomoric and childish.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't have any qualms about it, but it was funny. It was pure, it was just comedic joy.
It was, actually. And it's kind of nice. It's refreshing to get those jokes, get those movies every once in a while. So where you're not stuck with something super serious or super scary. It's just, I'm going to sit down and take an hour and a half, 2 hours, and...
Oh, it wasn't even that. It was like 70,
minutes,
yeah.
Just in general, take that amount of time for yourself and just have fun with the movie, because they're supposed to take you away from your troubles or your bad day. And it is a very, very funny movie. Some of it's inappropriately funny, but it's still so funny.
There are moments, it starts off right away very sophomoric. And I don't have a problem with that. It's Hugh Jackman, you probably know what I'm referring to, with Kate Winslet. Two, high acting, pretty decent, good actors from stage, great British credentials. They got the accent that we Americans love. No way around that. Can't get around that. But to take them completely out of their element of dramatic acting and do some simple, stupid deadpan comedy of just wild, stupid situations.
It's just fun to see.
It really is. It genuinely is. One that sticks out to me, Chloe Grace Moretz.
Oh, yeah.
A very hilarious little bit.
If you're a girl, it's a nightmare.
It's definitely
it's
a
so
teenage girl's worst
funny.
nightmare.
It's so funny. You feel bad for her, but you're like... The men in this situation are... It's funny.
It uses stereotypes. It plays on stereotypes, and you will never see Terrence Howard funnier than the last bit that they do. Unbelievably funny, unbelievably inappropriate, but very, very funny. This is... If you think it's like an ensemble cast like what the unfortunate Scary Movie franchise has done over the past near 15, 20 years, no. This is something completely different.
Yeah, it's vignettes. It's not...
It is. It's little vignettes. It makes sense in how they can jump from one area to another. I mean, it's genuinely... funny and refreshing as far as I'm concerned. Don't go into thinking that this is just going to be a bunch of spoofs of modern pop culture jokes. No, it's not. This is sort of period. I don't want to say a period piece, but this is just a sampling of basic everyday life.
Yeah.
And it's everyday situations. So go into it with, I would say go in with low expectations. That's fine. Go in, if you read reviews of saying, oh, this is garbage, fine. You can take that as you want, but actually go in and watch it. Spend the 75 minutes to do it. And best of all, it's not going to waste your time. I mean...
No, it moves quickly.
It does. I mean, some parts drag, and it's kind of like, all right, let's see the next bit. Let's see how that happens. And it gets to be funny. There are some peaks and valleys, but the vignettes that they do are tremendously hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
So, and our final category of new to me in 2013, real latecomer. I guess I got caught up in the hullabaloo of it ending, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm referring to Breaking Bad. Their AMC was kind enough to rerun the entire series back to back to back style episodes, so I have the last bit remaining of season 5, the last season. So looking forward to finishing that up. Otherwise, very good. I'm almost slightly disappointed in the way that it went. First season is a lot of dark humor, intertwined with a good story. Then it kind of goes into full story mode and leaves and forgets some of the dark humor and gallows humor that the first season had. I enjoy dark or gallows humor. I'm not a stranger to it. I accept it for what it is because it is still comedic. So, really looking forward to seeing how that wraps up. Young Justice, a tremendous product put out by DC Animation. It was on Cartoon Network. Unfortunately, I believe it was canceled. But find the DVDs out there. They're very cheap. Watch it. It is it's just another high watermark from the animation folks at DC. Then we found one that I kind of stumbled upon. There were so many seasons that I felt overwhelmed and didn't want to spend the money buying DVDs or renting and having to wait for stuff. They finally put it on, and Netflix added it to their Instant Watch this year and gave us It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that definitely, totally late to the party on that one, but I'm glad we joined the party.
Yes.
I think we made it through season 7, watched season 9, and we're now back on season 8, but it definitely, like, the crude humor, you need like 20 minutes of that a week. You just do. You need 20 minutes of Mac D, Dennis, and Charlie doing Mac D, Dennis, and Charlie stuff.
And don't forget Frank, who just oozes sleaze.
Oh, Frank, yeah, oozes sleaze.
Honestly, it's very nice to see a comedic team like this maintain control over their product for so long.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think next year is the last season of it, but that's 10 seasons.
10 seasons of crazy.
You're going on close to, I would say, if not over 100 episodes of the show, and it's tremendously funny, and at times there is an overarching story. They bring back recurring characters, or characters that came in for one but then reference back again. They have run-ins. It's like
Rickety Cricket.
The poor man. The poor man.
Poor Rickety Cricket.
It's funny because I find it very real, because not many people go outside their comfort zone as far as their daily life and their daily routine. And you end up running into the same people, seeing the same faces in the same town, whatever the case may be. And yet there's always something different going on, or there's always different points at each other's lives that you intersect in and everything. But they do a great job. If you go through and just poop socket for all 8 seasons that are now on Netflix.
Oh, it's very doable.
It's very doable. It's very funny, and it maybe it's just, if it speaks to my sick, warped, twisted, and sometimes and very stupid at times sense of humor. There are great little one-liners and clips that I will use in my daily life. I won't use it on the podcast because it's rather inappropriate, and I don't know if people would get it, but otherwise, I love it. There's gems galore, verbal gems.
Oh yeah.
And I'm very happy that they were able to maintain creative control. There's a few things that hop, skip, and a jump as far as variations from season to season, but the Wonder Years kid ended up directing a lot. His name is completely escaping me right now.
Oh, I wonder what's his face. Ben Savage?
Yes, Ben Savage ends up directing entire seasons of this early on. Ends up writing, producing a lot for this early on. And it's funny to see that name pop up. You're like, no, that can't be the same kid from the Wonder Years. Just being...
It
doesn't
fit.
fit.
To see who ends up, doing things, and definitely fun.
Oh, absolutely. Another one moving into the recommendation that I received at the end of last year. It was Matt, my co-host of Lag Free. He recommended to me Hitchcock as one of the best films that he saw last year. Got to see it this year. Tremendous film.
Oh, very good.
Absolutely tremendous. Deserves plenty of accolades. It really... The makeup, the writing, the acting, top notch. There's not a bad thing I can say about this film.
Oh yeah, no, it is very good. Very, moved along. It was very good, very well written.
Another film that I saw, and I saw a lot of posters for. I don't think it got a lot of press, and it moved quickly from theaters to DVD or to private consumer audiences. The movie 7 Psychopaths. Wow, it's original.
It's very good. It's very fantastic, and let me just tell you, Sam Rockwell is one of my all-time favorite actors to play nut jobs and just weirdos. nobody does it better than him.
Sam,
Him and Javier Bardem, they're up there on my list of nut job, actors who play nut jobs well. So, but definitely worth a watch.
Colin Farrell was a bit insufferable throughout it.
Kind of, he's a bit whiny.
But I think that was more so the character, and I can separate that a little bit. Woody Harrelson, great job. I mean, I'm sorry, Woody Harrelson was honestly one of the best actors of our time. In his range is impeccable. Aside from him, Sam Rockwell, I haven't seen him this good probably since Matchstick Men, or I would say Moon.
No, he was good in Choke.
I have to see Choke still.
You need to see Choke.
I have to see Choke and Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
He was also really good in Frost Nixon.
Didn't see that.
Frost Nixon was very good, and Sam Rockwell's, James Reston? He's one of the reporters, and he excellent. Sam Rockwell has excellent acting chops, but he just always ends up in this like sleazy psychopath role most of the time. And I don't know if it's his comfort zone or what, but he's so good at it.
He is. He did it. He does a really good job, and so I do have some Sam Rockwell homework to do, but I haven't seen him that good. Honestly, he does so many good things. I do have to see those other two that mentioned before. One that we heard, I was surprised, honestly, by the ratings that it was getting on Netflix from consumer audiences, from people that had seen it in theaters. It didn't have a long life in theaters here in America. Pitch Perfect.
Fantastic.
I will give it credit for being probably one of the best movies completely, entirely given on the creative backside to women. I mean, we'll talk about movies that women have created and that do not advance filmmaking, do not advance comedy.
Or just drive you nuts because it's just women being women, and it's...
I'm sorry, Bridesmaids, everyone wants to rave about it. There was about 5 good minutes of that movie, and the rest is pretty much the stereotypical view that I think most men have of women in being completely scatterbrained and off the reservation. Because that movie did not know what it wanted to be.
Bridesmaids kind of didn't know what it wanted to be, but this movie is actually really good. Coming from that kind of theater and music background, it is very, very close to kind of what you go through and the people you interact with. So that was nice. The music and bringing snippets of things back from Ace of Base and all sorts of other things. Definitely very good, and you see all these people coming out with the cup song covers, and it's just kind of fun to see, or you hear the cup song on the radio, and you're like, hey, I know that.
Yeah, I know what that's from. I was so surprised to see that being played on, a Pop 20.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? How did that happen?
I hear it at work. It's weird. But, in addition to that, one of the guys from, we actually saw over the summer, we did see Book of Mormon. And one of the guys from Pitch Perfect was in Book of Mormon.
Surprisingly, here in Chicago.
Which is kind of fun to see. Chicago actually does have a good theater community, despite what my husband thinks.
That's another show for another time.
Another show, but definitely, it's definitely fun to see those things as well.
If you're looking for a frame of reference, of the best way that I could relate to Pitch Perfect is going back and looking at some of Christopher Guest's work. And if you don't know who I'm referring to, I'll mention 2 of his movies. Best in Show, this is Spinal Tap. Another one to throw out there is, grasping at it, oh gosh, A Mighty Wind.
Oh, did he do a Prairie Home Companion too?
He might have. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. But I know he did, A Mighty Wind. And it's... really, really great stuff. Falling in sort of irreverent... Well, I shouldn't say mockumentary, but it has its own little mockumentary moments. But the songs, the pop culture that they'll throw in, tying in from a cappella, now what the sing-off has become, and even some American Idol, or like this America's Got Talent.
America's Got Talent, but it also draws from... iconic movies as well. Like, there's a lot to do with The Breakfast Club, and, so it's definitely a very cute movie. It's definitely a feel-good movie. take the time to watch it if you haven't. So.
Yeah, no, it really tremendous stuff. I was shocked by it. I was honestly expecting it to be 2 out of 5 stars at best. Blew me out of the water. Ended up doubling, if not going, 2.5 to 5. So loved it. Really, really loved it. One movie I saw recently that came up actually in my counterpart of From Page to Screen, and some of the things that he's doing, Stuart, over at From Page to Screen Network, and one of the shows that he was mentioning on his horror show, his new horror show, so please feel free to go check that out. It's him and him and his team. They were talking about this one movie called American Mary, and how it was, it is an indie film. It's an indie horror that really kind of advances horror and sort of gets away. It is a little gory. It is gruesome. It's unsettling at times, but it's kind of refreshing to see. It doesn't stick to the norms. So I ended up spending some time watching it. I think it was on Veterans Day, kind of around there. So really liked it. Really had a good time watching it. I've doubled my horror exposure.
I know.
From yeah, I know.
Whoa, dream big.
I know, and really enjoyed it for what it was. I didn't try to overanalyze it too much. It's coming from a team of young sister directors that had a cameo appearances. I sadly didn't think it went far enough. I thought it could have done some things more. I thought they could have pushed the envelope a little bit more. Of course, my mind's a little sick and twisted, and I didn't get what I wanted from Human Centipede. So
Ugh, that is stupid.
Couple of shows from a couple of years ago. You can feel free to search the lag-free archives for that. But that was a thorough disappointment because I guess my mind is completely twisted and out there, which I think my movie would be better. So either way. And another TV show that we did one that we did watch was Wilfred, and we ended up we did catch up on. We have 2 cats. We're going to be getting a dog in a couple of years.
Eventually.
And Megan is so much more of a dog person than me. It's not to say I don't like dogs. I accept dogs for what they are. But that being said, I accept dogs for what they are. Sometimes drooling, slobbering, conniving idiots at times. And the first season played a lot and got a lot of the stereotypes and typical dog jokes out of the way. But at times, they come back. And it's great to see.
I definitely, Wilfred, if you haven't seen it, FX, fantastic. Oh my gosh. No, it's just kind of funny to see, Elijah Wood walk around with this dog that everybody thinks is a dog, but to Elijah Wood, it's a man in a dog suit, talking to him. And so it's definitely, their interactions are so funny, and the hilarity and the hijinks that ensues when they go out and do things is just, it's so funny, but it also makes you kind of think and grow a little bit. So definitely, if you're sleeping on Wilfred, don't sleep on Wilfred.
Yeah, it's good. It's very smart. It's a very smart comedy. Again, if you want to have it on in the background, you're going to miss so much if you're not.
It's not one of those things that you fold towels to.
No. I mean, you can fold towels, but as long as watching it, as long as you're watching, and that's what you want to do. But if you're, vacuuming, you're going to miss it. Yeah, exactly. One movie that I just saw really last week, so closing out pretty much 2013, that I had never seen and had any exposure to, and it's always been recommended to me, was Akira. Most people, I think, would consider it one of the marquee pinnacles of anime in a modern era, made in '88. Tremendous visuals, tremendous artistic artwork, artistic work for 1988. With
it was 1988?
Yeah.
I caught part of it. I have no idea what it's about, and it's gorgeous, stunning.
Really, really tremendous artwork. Coloring, perfect. Set, you can't say sets, but background designs, the entire world that they created, absolutely tremendous. It was a dubbed version. I I don't know if it's because it was dubbed and translation did not work. I don't know if they didn't. Maybe it's because they didn't have Google Translate and some things didn't carry over. I think it would almost be better if I did rewatch it in original Japanese with English subtitles, because I think a few things may have been explained more or better. I was kind of lost on some of these things because, not to say that it wasn't cohesive, it just didn't flow in the world that they created. So this is my initial review of it. Maybe in time, at some other point or juncture, I will go back and watch a Japanese English subtitle version of it. But I'm fine with taking leaps of faith in sci-fi, but this almost fell right in line with whatever Blade Runner was trying to do, or any of those sort of sci-fi noir, what the hell's the meaning of life, circa 1980 to 1989. I don't know. Maybe it's just a subsect of sci-fi that I don't particularly care for or find rather boring because of the lack of a message, or the message I'm really not interested in hearing. So that could be it entirely. It was interesting. It was artistic. It was very nice to see. But story-wise, I could have been, if I didn't have to listen to anything, if I didn't have to read anything, well, if I didn't have to listen to any of the English, I think I would have been fine. So I'll take that away from it. But overall, decent. I'll appreciate it for what it is, but I'm not going to, rub it out any more than I absolutely have to. So, let's see. Do you have anything else?
No, sorry, I didn't watch that much this year.
Yeah, it was
I have high
busy
hopes
year
for next year, but
yeah, I do too. I think my high point right now, I'm looking at probably Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Well, yeah, that would be. I'm kind of excited about that. What else? I'm still excited to see American Hustle.
Yes.
It has not been in our cards. We've tried twice and failed miserably each time.
Maybe next year.
maybe 2014. It's our year for
Come on.
American Hustle.
Yeah. There's a lot of different things.
The Jack Ryan movie.
Yeah.
That actually doesn't look too bad. Because Chris Pine, he does action well.
He does. He's certainly becoming that new... I don't even know. He's picking up where Matt Damon is exiting. Yeah. I guess is the best way to put it.
I would kind of agree with that one.
Let's see. Oh, there is, I believe, a new Wes Anderson movie coming out soon.
Oh, yes.
I'm very, very excited for that. The Lego movie is going to be interesting because I don't know what they're going to do with that. RoboCop, I haven't even seen the original, so maybe this will be even better. So we'll see with that.
RoboCop is kind of rough. Rough.
Just looking through some of the coming soon here. Another Liam Neeson action movie.
Oh, The Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yes.
It's the Wes Anderson film we're all looking forward to.
Yes. If you haven't seen... Honestly, Moonrise Kingdom and Silver Linings Playbook, the best two movies to come out of 2012.
I agree.
2012.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yes.
Moonrise Kingdom, definitely. Wes Anderson uses the same group of people for the most part. But it's just so... it's so much fun to see how these people change from movie to movie, and Wes Anderson has such a distinctive style that you definitely shouldn't be missing, shouldn't be sleeping on his films.
Yeah.
Ooh, April 4th!
Yes, April 4th for Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which I called back when original.
When we saw Captain America.
I walked out of the movie and told you exactly what it was,
yep.
what was next, and thank you for not letting me down.
That's Amazing Spider-Man 2.
That I have very high hopes for. I think that'll do well after seeing the Amazing Spider-Man the end of last year. A new Godzilla. And
Your $1 Million Arm.
Yes.
With
John Hamm finally getting some big screen time. He's seemingly been confined to the small screen with Mad Men. So
parts in
unfortunately. Maleficent.
Yes. Maleficent, yes.
No, the Maleficent.
She's the bad guy from Sleeping Beauty.
Yes, Sleeping Beauty, the pinnacle of all Disney princess movies.
Yes.
not ashamed to admit that. Sleeping Beauty is by far the best one.
Yes, it is. It's actually the only Disney movie I own on DVD.
Close second.
Sorry, Disney, your vault keeps shutting.
Close second would probably be Little Mermaid, even with their phallic intentions.
Oh boy.
How to Train Your Dragon 2. I loved the first one, and oh yes, the next Transformers movie. I don't care. I don't care. Knows it. I love the Transformers movies. I loved Transformers 3. No, shameless. Don't even care. It's exactly what I want. And Michael Bay, lay it on me, baby. You do it.
Explosions.
Yes, you do. You do a perfect job. I love what you've done with Transformers. I know I may be ostracized for that. Surprisingly, yes, another Planet of the Apes movie.
Caesar is home.
Yes, he is. We look forward to that because that was fun. Disney
Planes,
Canada.
Fire and Rescue! Oh my god, Eric's gonna be my brother will be so excited. He's a pilot. He's like, planes? Yes. Awesome. Oh.
I have no respect for Disney. I have such a lowered respect for Disney because of what they've done with their animation department.
Oh, I agree.
I'm sorry. I had, as soon as Cars 2 came out, when it was even announced, I'm like, over. Done. It doesn't matter. I find Pixar horribly, horribly unoriginal. I did not even care that Toy Story ended. I did not care.
I didn't either. I feel bad about that, but I don't feel bad about it at the same time.
I think
TMNT.
Yeah, a big wild card coming out in August next year is a new installment or a new version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And well, I guess might be a good time to talk about it because I wanted to go back and see how bad the original live-action version of TMNT is.
Take it for the 80s-ness that it is.
And it's good. I really find it good.
I gotta dig out my stuffed Michelangelo, man.
It really doesn't try to do too much. I was reading some of the insights and some of the trivia behind it, and how the woman that played April O'Neil wouldn't come back for the sequel because of how much her character was edited out. This was at the time that Ninja Turtles was the thing. This was the this was the bee's knees. This was it. This is money making money shots galore. And it's funny. The humor has held up surprisingly well. Yeah. And I'll credit the writing for that.
Well, give it about 5 years and we show it to our kids and they'll think it's the worst movie in the entire world. The
worst part about it, I found, was that they were never really able to sync up the mouth movements with the voice. Because all the turtles were voiced over. And that is something that does break the scene, break the movie at times.
Oh, see, that doesn't bother me.
It bothers me a little bit, but it's funny. It's pretty quick-witted. It's not what we're seeing right now with what Nickelodeon's doing with TMNT, but it's close. It's better than the 80s cartoon. I went back and watched some of the original volumes for the original cartoon. Good golly, that's bad.
Oh, the Expendables 3!
Oh, gosh. Oh, boy. Yeah, that can stay there. That's fine.
Oh, Sin City. I knew Sin City.
Yeah, it was delayed. It was supposed to come back. It was supposed to be out this year. I think we even talked about it last year as a preview for the year. But I pushed back 2014 into August. I only got to watch a little bit of the original again, and I love the original. I've seen the original. I loved it.
The original in theaters. Loved it.
I can't recall if I did not get to see it in theaters. Saw it after the fact, but still very, very good. Other than that, some interesting movies coming. Well, I guess some filler, maybe coming out the rest of the year. Of course, the dramas come out at the end of the year. What can you expect? Oh, great.
Activity 5.
Yeah, get ready for that. That's ready to, kind of come out for, Halloween as they return to their Halloween. They took a year off this year, decided to release it in winter, but
apparently November.
Who cares? So we'll see about that. Otherwise, 2014, I guess there are some more highlights that we didn't that we kind of went through and were able to see. Certainly hope the expectations are there. I know there's a lot of stuff coming out, 2015, 2016, new Star Wars continuing the saga there.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't mind if they went back. Hey, feel free to go back and redo some of the prequels there. You can take back Episode 2 and just do the Clone Wars. As far as I'm concerned, the animation stuff that they're doing with the Clone Wars, that spin-off movie, fantastic. That launched their the Cartoon Network series. Really good stuff. I really like the animation. I'm going to have to try to get into those seasons as well. So that about does it for me. Thank you, Megan, for hopping on and spending some time this New Year's.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Not that you had to go far. So.
No.
All right. Thank you very much to all our listeners. Thank you for your patience and getting in as we get another show up here from Page2Screen Stateside. Thank you, Stuart, again, for letting me try out this endeavor of From Page2Screen Stateside. Look to continue to do that and maybe grow that a little bit more. We'll see as how the year progresses. Hope everyone had a very good 2013, and we look forward to 2014.
Thanks for listening to From Page to Screen Stateside here on Intrepid Audio Productions. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter by searching IAP Podcasts, all one word. We make it easy to listen to us at home or on the go because you can subscribe to us via iTunes or on your browser at Spreaker.com. Listen to us on the go with the Stitcher Radio app, available for all smartphones. Want to interact with the team directly? Leave any questions, comments, or feedback you may have at our Facebook page. You can also like our page to know about special events, shows topics, and listen directly on our page to new and past episodes. Feel free to email us anytime at iappodcast@gmail.com. IAP Podcasts, pioneering the best in independent podcasting.